Sadly, we've all heard of the high-profile tragedies at places like Columbine, Sandy Hook, and Parkland, but there are dozens of other school shootings that happen each and every year, and many don't even make headlines. Just this year, there have been more than 80 incidents where guns were fired on school grounds. Now, this map that you see tells the story. There have been 13 deaths, nearly 50 injuries. Incidents are happening from coast to coast, urban, suburban, rural schools. It makes no difference. Now, despite all of that, the NRA is doing something that I think most of us would consider inconceivable. The gun group's foundation arm is actually raising money by auctioning off guns in schools. That could include semi-automatic rifles, handguns, weapons with high-capacity magazines, often in the school auditorium. And joining us now is someone who is particularly upset about this, my next guest, Manuel Oliver. He lost his son Joaquin in the Parkland school shooting. He's also the founder of a group called Change the Ref, whose mission is to raise awareness about mass shootings and reduce the influence of the NRA. And Manuel, it's good talking to you again, but as I mentioned, the very mission statement of your group to change the influence, the idea after everything that we've said, that to sell guns or auction off guns in the middle of a school, on school grounds, I mean, beyond being tone deaf, there's a tasteless aspect to this, at least I find.
Yeah, I think, well, thank you for having me here on your show. It's always a pleasure talking to you. This is just like a desperate measure to try to be out there in any possible way. Not only the schools are part of what concerns us more, is exactly where Joaquin lost his life. So, but also it's like a way to raise money that is totally irresponsible. I mean, there's no tracking of who is actually winning these guns, or there is no actual nothing organized behind this action of just raffling weapons, like with no specific goal, but just to bring more gun culture to our society. In my opinion, that should be totally avoided, and I don't really know how to make that happen.
And to me, it says something else, which is, it's further evidence. There's no real interest on the part of the NRA in terms of any form of background checks or responsible gun ownership. Like you said, they're having a raffle like it's a bingo game where they're handing out an AR-15. I mean, and to do it on school grounds after the tragedy we've seen, obviously you know all too well Parkland, but from our neck of the woods with Sandy Hook and so many other schools, I mean, I can only imagine if I was a parent and I put my kid on a school bus one day and he never or she never came home, and now the same group that's defended these things is now selling or auctioning guns off in the same places. I mean, talk about a gut punch.
Well, the NRA has no limitations when it comes to stop this from happening. The final goal is to sell more guns, to make everybody carry a gun, so that will be the only way that you can be safe from another person shooting you. I've been in many rallies, meetings, roundtables, and what they represent is just the gun manufacturers, the industry behind the gun manufacturers, the gun lobby itself, and of course the politicians that are actually part of the problem and not of the solution. So anything they do is okay for them to keep on doing. Our job is to stop it from happening.
You know, one of the, and I wanted to ask you about this because for a lot of us, we'll cover the tragedy in the media, we'll cover the immediate aftermath, and then obviously not just the people who lose loved ones, but also the community has to live in the aftermath. And something I saw that, I don't know why it surprised me, but in Parkland, after the shootings, test scores have completely tanked. In large numbers for a lot of the kids. There was a school shooting, then Politico focused on this in Santa Fe, where the incident reports about troubles at the school and the amount of kids that are dealing with traumatic aftermaths after both students and teachers were killed have spiked as well. It's not just for the family where there is that ongoing pain that never goes away, but this continues well after the shooting for the school and the community at large too, doesn't it?
You're right. I can speak about Parkland because I feel it every day. there's a consequence that will never be erased from the community. There were almost 4,000 kids that day running away from this shooter. They don't even know where the shoots are coming from. So, and there's a lot of parents like Patricia and myself desperate to find their kids. And it's not an easy way to erase that from happening. School shootings have something that other shootings don't have, and that's that the survivors need to go back to the scene. And that's something that parents and kids that still go to that school need to deal with every single day.
I want to talk about a project you're involved with, and maybe some folks in our audience in the New York area might get a chance to see. Talk about the one-man play you're doing, and it's going to be performing, as I understand, at the 92nd Street Y, which is a terrific venue, 2 weeks from tomorrow.
We've been using art, as you know, since day one as a way to communicate with society, and now we're adding theater to all the movement that we have been doing for almost 2 years. It's a one-man show. It speaks about Joaquin. It touches the tragedy behind everything that we're fighting for, and it's a way of entertaining and create awareness at the same time. Roller coaster of emotions. People will cry, laugh, smile, dance, and some other surprises. And it's an honor to be in New York. You're right, on November 22nd at the 92nd Street Y. So I will hope to have a lot of people in front of the stage while we do that.
And in fact, we've brought up on our screen right now the web address where people can find out more information about the performance. Manuel's being modest here. He will be doing the performance that is obviously as personal a project as you can imagine. You can go check out both the details of the performance and how to purchase tickets as well. Manuel, it's always good talking to you, and I wish you the best of luck come the 22nd.
Thank you very much. It's nice talking to you.
All right, everyone, when we come back, we're going to wrap things up here on RFL, so please stay with us.